Show you how to go. To the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. Knock it. Now walk it by yourself. Now walk it by yourself. Down, do your dance, do your dance. 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 To the right, to the right, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. Knock it. Now walk it by yourself. Now walk it by yourself. To the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. Knock it. Now walk it by yourself. Now walk it by yourself. Come on. See what I'm talking about? Just say it first, dirty sound. With no swing, you know. You what I'm talking about. Down, do your dance, do your dance. Down, do your dance. Now go on, baby, kick. Now walk it by yourself. Walk it by yourself. To the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. Kick, now kick, now kick, now walk it by yourself. Here we go. It's your boy, you can see you feel a melody. It's a bit on the track, and another. Here we go. Hey. Do your dance, do your dance. 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 Do your dance, do your dance.
It's like my Cupid shuffle for you guys today.
That was great.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome.
Hello.
The delay is trippy. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to have to get used to that.
Yeah, it's very, very trippy, but we are in fact live and we can see both of us on here. We have 12 people already on, so that's pretty exciting.
So why are we here? Well, so I'm Sonia with Simply Events. We had 2 companies up and going that catered towards events and gathering. And of course, we know that's not allowed anymore. And so we're getting creative and we're learning how to make our brand virtual, and we're trying to pivot and do all of those things that sound great on paper, but that shit's super hard when you're an entrepreneur and you don't have any staff, or because of this, you've had to let your staff go and all of those hard things. And I know I'm not the only one who had to do that. People had contractors they were working with. So it's been a lot. So we are, in my crazy, I called David, of course. And I'm like, David, let's do a virtual workshop about making your brand virtual. And then, yeah, it's really trippy with the 20 seconds when your hands goes up in the air and you completely moved on from the sentence.
I know, that's why I have it on my phone, just so I can like peek just to make sure we're still on, but yeah, I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah, good call. I'm gonna stop doing it too. And I said, what can we do? And then I came at him with this idea about simply support local. And then I started calling some of our artists and vendors. And it's on its way to something really cool, and we're going to continue with it regardless if we can go back to business tomorrow, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. I just had to postpone May events, or half of May, and that hurt, you know, so that's where I am today. And then of course I bring my friend David along with me to my crazy and my different ideas, and he has some super cool ideas about how to help his friends with small business. And we're just going to talk about how to make your brand viral and a couple simple steps today. And I'm going to give it to David.
Yeah. So first off, you know, I thank Sonia because she always will call me and I'm always like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. Whatever it is, let's do it. So I know there's a lot of people, you know, struggling, because I knew that right after everything kind of started closing down, I started getting a lot of calls from people that I know just because they had to like scramble and like, well, you know, how do I do this? What am I going to do? You know, I have to now do all this stuff, like even just questions on like, how do I set up like a Zoom, right? Like there's some people that just weren't really tech savvy to begin with. So now you're just kind of like pushed into, well, everything needs to be done on the internet. So go. So, and you have such a short time to do it. So it's a really scary time. And then now for a lot of people, like Sonia said, there's a lot of people that are now just starting to do stuff online, that they have to take their business online and figure all that out like on the go while trying to keep up with, you know, rent and employees. So it's a definitely scary time, but I think the only best thing out of this is we do have some moments now. We do have time, right? So any of that extra time that you had, I know everyone wants to watch Tiger King. I get it. It's crazy. We know, but take some of that extra time now and learn some of this now so you can implement it and help your business in the long run, because we don't know when this is going to end. Like it will end, but we don't know what's going to happen even after that, right? This could completely change how some businesses function. So the better that you understand how to do this, like if you can have a virtual brand set up that, you know, if something's not working or people can't come to your storefront or go online or go to your event, then you have a backup plan that can be done through here. Everybody has internet. Everyone has a phone with a camera on it, right? So at minimum, you know, you could do this. And that's kind of like what we're going to talk about today, some ideas that you can do, and we'll answer any questions that you have as well, even if it's just from, you know, setting up virtual, what can I do for my business, or what can I do to like advertise my business now? Because a lot of people are actually not advertising their business because they're scared to spend some money, but this may be actually the best time. If you're trying to do something and get more customers in the door, this actually may be the perfect opportunity to really start advertising your business once you get it set up in a virtual form. Are you still watching yourself over there?
No, Drew said she so killed her husband on Tiger King.
Listen, we could have a whole nother thing just about
on
that.
Tiger King. That's so crazy. I know.
Yeah. We could literally have just a whole nother setup just talking about, you know, that show. So I definitely get it. I'm right there with you. I may be in that camp as well. But yeah, we won't go too deep into it. We'll make some money first, and then you know, let's get some people.
Let's learn how to try to make some money on the viral webbers. You know.
Yes, and then once we're rolling in the dough, everybody's all comfortable. Then we can go into Tiger King. That's completely fine.
That's the dough rolling in.
Yes, that's exactly. So so where do you want to start? I mean, where do you want to go? Right. Do you want to jump in? I mean, we have some of our questions, which I did not finish putting up, but I can put them on the fly. So
that's okay.
We do have the first one, which I think is open or not. It says it's open. So let's see. Put it on there. We get to learn this all together at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Just so
by the way,
we are learning also for you.
Yep. So we're doing this from Zoom into live. So there's an extra, there's a little extra fancy in there as well. Okay.
So Lori Goman with Market 516, that's what you need in your life, girl.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she said. I would like to know where to start with setting up my virtual business. You know, first, I think is making sure you have a workspace. So it's super important. And then not only do you have a workspace, but you have to start adapting to working at home and changing your thought process. So for me, working at home was not something I enjoy doing. I like going to a coffee shop. I like going anywhere else, but that is not an option. So I set up a little space, as you see, and I'm kind of owning my space when Miss Kitty's not around. So that's number one for me, is I needed to set myself up for success and set myself up to do this digital thing. You know, I have a small backdrop. I'm using my laptop to talk to you guys all on, and I'm trying to make sure that I make eye contact with that little button that you see on your laptop, where it looks like a little camera, just like on your phone. And then if you're going to watch yourself, like what happened at the beginning here, there is that 20-second delay. So just know that, because for me, I'm still watching it and it's just super crazy for me to adjust to. So I'm trying to keep my eyes on David over here on the Zoom, you know, that because that's an actual real time. Exactly. I appreciate you bringing it back to me.
Yeah, no, that's okay. And just know too, if you do this, you know, since we are doing this on Zoom, I mean, even just using the Facebook Live platform and just doing it straight to live, you'll be fine. There is a slight delay, but it'll be much easier. But, you know, the same advice I give to people when you're doing this, and it kind of touches on Lori's question as well. So let's say for your virtual business, right, you need to start connecting with your customer on some sort of personal level, which is super hard right now because we all can't leave the house, right? So doing this kind of stuff at least gives some sort of connection. And you see, like when I talk, like I like to look directly at the camera, so that if you're looking at me, I'm looking right at you. I'm looking at a wall with a camera, but you know, it's that same idea. It's like we're having that conversation. So doing a lot of these is great, whether it's live or doing a pre-recorded video that you can just shoot on your phone. Doing as many as you can so people can see you and you can have some sort of interaction, I think is going to be really important, not only in the coming weeks, but it's just important in general as we keep continuing on with who's trying to FaceTime me right now? Weird. Great timing. It's a great time to really get this. I know, right? Great time. So it's a good time to get that set up and get in that rhythm, right? They don't need to be perfect, right? None of this is perfect. Like I have a big random thing here just because I'm covering like my bedroom that I had to shove into, that my wife and I now have to co-work next to each other, like in our bedroom. Like we just have to adapt as best as we can. But I know at the end of the day, no one's going to really care what this looks like, what Sonia's background looks like. It's like, as long as the message is good and you get something out of it, we provided value. That's all that's going to matter. Think about that for your business as well. Just worry about what's the value you're going to bring. What's something that you can engage with your customer base, give them something entertaining, something to keep their mind off stuff, you know, anything like that. It doesn't need to be fancy. You have the most important tool in the world, which is basically your phone or your laptop or a combo of both. But that's pretty much all you need at this point, right?
Right. That's step one, getting comfortable with those devices together, and, you know, finding shortcuts to make things happen for you also with just those devices. Do we have the first question up for everybody by chance?
Yes. So
currently, where am I at?
Yeah, let me see. Let me open that up.
Awesome.
Let's see if we can get in there.
So David's going to try to put this first question up, but it was just basically currently, where am I? What are my, you know, and then there's an acronym that you can go with it. It's S for strengths. What currently are my strengths in my business? And you can identify those, your products that sell very well, but what products sell very well online? Of course, pulling that data, whatever. Find out exactly what it is so you can find out who your demographic is. So if you're having to move onto online now, you know your demographic, who they are in person. It's the exact same thing. I was talking to a soap vendor the other day, and she said, even though I live in Pasco, I sell best in Bradenton. So it was fantastic that she knew that information, and that's where people buy from her online more than anywhere else. So, and then it goes into what are my weaknesses? Oh yeah, I have lots of those. Well, I've been discovering this channel and trying to support going viral with Simply Support Local and even Simply Events. But past that, finding out the knowledge that I need to know to make all of this stuff connect. So in my case, I like to have a role model or samples for my weaknesses so I can figure those things out quicker. And I like to put all that stuff in the same spot so it's easy for me to find. And then what opportunities do I have? So for me, when I looked at, I can't now have events, but I have all this connection with all of these amazing makers and businesses. So I could definitely start a support local site in each community, but that's where my brain went. Everybody has something that they can connect their next business or they have an opportunity to capture in this time. You just have to figure out what it is. And then the last one is threats. For me, I always want to know who my competition is, and I want to know who's doing it way the best. And then I also want to know who my direct competition is in the area. I want to know the way they're marketing their products. Is it working? Now, I'm not going to steal my neighbor's idea, but I then can see what they're doing and collect other samples from other businesses that may not even be the same industry as mine, but they're just doing it better than anybody else in my industry. And I'm going to follow them and try to absorb some of the things they have. So that was the first thing that I had for you guys. Anything on that?
That was fantastic. Well, that's great. And, knowing the audience is something, like knowing, and, there's one point that you touched on, like from even a marketing standpoint, like when we're doing like digital marketing, right? And we're trying to, use a Facebook ad or something like that. Like knowing your competitor is something that is very important that I don't think enough people actually do, because you need to know what they're doing. You need to know what you're going up against, because if you, let's say you're selling a product and someone has something similar, right? They could see that you're starting to do well, you're starting to do this. And next thing you know, they like lower their price on something that's very similar. And then you start to notice, hey, I'm not getting as many sales or anything like that? Because you got to keep tabs on what they're doing. So even for bigger businesses or small businesses that run ads, I will periodically check what ads are running for competitors for my clients. And you can do that through Facebook, because Facebook has a transparency that you can see what ads a page is running. So if you go to their business page, you should see like there's a thing about page transparency, and they'll tell you when the page was started, who owns it, and then if there's any ads that are currently running. So you can't see ads from the past, but you can see if they're running ads now. That's fantastic. Like that's a fairly like new feature, and that's really great because now you can get a leg up on what they're doing, because they're trying to run these ads. You're probably not going to be able to ever see them, but now you can. So it's that idea that Tony's talking about, like really know your audience, know your market, know your customer, but especially know your competitor. You have to keep up. And especially now with everything going on, right? It's only going to get more and more competitive. So you just have to have the edge at all times.
So Dave.
Yes.
What if I don't know how to get to my ads account or how to set that up even?
So so there's two different ads accounts, right? So most of you will be using the one that's built into like Facebook.com. So where you go to basically, go on Facebook, and you probably have your business page attached. When you go to your business page, there's an actual ads manager in there. Now that has changed so much in probably the last 2 years. And it's so much better now, because when it first started, it would say, hey, give Facebook $5 and we'll get it out in front of like 2,000 people. You're like, okay, cool. And then you did it and nothing really happened because you weren't really sure who those people were. But now that ads manager works more like business professional one. That is a separate kind of animal itself. But this one lets you choose your objective and like, hey, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to get people to your website? Are you trying to get them to call you? Are you trying to get them to message you? Do you want people to engage? So there's all these different kind of objectives now that you can run, and all that is available to you in your business page right now in the ads portion. So when you go there and you say create an ad, it'll give you those options, and you can choose the objective. You can choose what location you want that ad to run, the demographics behind it, and how long you want to run it. I mean, that's pretty much all you need. Now, if you get more complicated, right, you could use the actual business Facebook manager that has a more robust ads manager. But I would say for like 80% of people out there, if you haven't started any advertising, that is more than enough. And you'll see if you take any idea and kind of thought and try to target your customer as best as possible, like your best customer, right? Like who is your bread and butter customer, right? Everyone's like, I want to
And you
reach
should know
everyone in
that.
the
You
world.
need to know that with this. I need to know my bread and butter customer, my perfect customer.
Yes, because here's the thing. I will say this really slow. We don't need to reach everyone. We don't. There's no point. There's no point. And I know, right? I need the rainbow. It says the more you know, like old school. So the reason why I say that is because if you're going to be spending some money, right? And luckily on Facebook and Instagram, where you can do the advertising, it's still pretty much the cheapest form of advertising for what you get back and how much reach. But you don't want to spend money on everybody because not everyone's going to buy your product. So to me, it would just make sense. All right, if I know my main customer is, let's say, like women of like 30 to 45 that enjoy yoga, well, that's who I'm going to advertise to at first because I know they're going to buy. Right. So the idea is that you want to get a return on your ad spend, meaning that if I give Facebook $10, I make $100 back. Right. That's I take that deal all day. I don't know about you. So that's kind of what you want to do, but you're not going to get that if you just try to blast it off to everybody, because not everyone in that audience that you're sending it out to is going to be interested in your product. That's why, everyone thinks that Facebook's listening to them because they're like, I was thinking about this thing, and then I see this ad. It wasn't. It's just they really targeted you and they know exactly what you like.
Yes, that is so true. Insights. It's an insight button located right near the ad center and everything else we need to kind of know about our business pages and where we can find it. And if you're not collecting data, start today.
Yeah. And if you don't know,
today, it's so important.
Is extremely important. And like just to Sonia's point, if you don't know who your customer is, you know now because your data is there, right? Base it off your business page. Who interacts with your page? It'll tell you who interacts with your page. Even just looking at the numbers, it'll tell you the demographic and the age at minimum. And that's already a great start if you don't know who your customer is. So understanding those numbers and kind of getting who's looking at your stuff, that's going to give you such a leg up when you start doing that, because that's usually where people struggle the most, I think, is trying to figure out who their customer is, right?
Exactly. I guess. Listen, shabby chic decor, whatever we're calling our artisan market today, chic decor and artisan market, it's been with us for 5 years. We've had to rebrand it now. But that difficulty of really honing in on the customer. And then we found that. Now we need to expand on that customer and continue to seek another customer with different kind of marketing. So that's, I think, the next challenge that they could see themselves having to go through with virtual. That's what a challenge that I have with the events all the time is I now have this follower, which is fantastic, but that follower isn't always going to provide the business for every single vendor, so on, so on, so on.
Right. But don't get too, because here's what happens, right? So when people start doing this, and I know that just because I've, working with so many, is they become obsessed with getting new customers that they ignore their current base. And your current base is always your best, right? That's your best customer is your current base. So that's why you have to make sure that when you start doing more content, right? And more content, even if it's like this, that you're keeping your fan base happy, your following, because those are your loyal ones, right? You want to keep them happy because they're going to consistently buy from you, but you also have to make time to find the new ones. It has to be a healthy balance. It can't be like, I'm just going to farm my same followers over and over again because it's just going to get tiresome. It's not scalable. But then again, you don't want to become obsessed with only finding new customers that you're ignoring your current ones. So those are two really important things that you got to focus on.
Agree. For me, one of the things that I struggled with the most is having to now do lives, having to now do videos, having to be in the content, but I think it was extremely important to take that step because like people need to see authentic, people need to be able to connect to something. And this like, I don't know, when something happens, I immediately like react and I'm like, okay, I now want to save everybody. And how can I save everybody? And it's, anyways. So, I just wanted to talk about that. And because the lives for me make me feel extremely anxious. I don't like them. I stuttered as a kid, so but that's the only way that I can see you guys and talk to you guys and really get to understand my follower as well, if they can get to understand and know me. So I think that's also equally as important.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I do a lot of video, right? So I get this a lot when people are like, I want to do a video, but I'm like terrified. Like I don't want to be on the video because they just freeze up, right? So the few tips I can give you is one, again, eye contact with that camera. I treat this thing like I'm talking to Sonia directly, right? And people get so freaked out, like it's lens. I don't know. I don't think I can do it. I'm like, can you hold a conversation with someone in real life? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, you can hold a conversation with a camera. It's the same idea. It's just weird because it's a one-way thing. But the more you treat this thing as a person and try to be as natural and casual as possible, it's going to come out. It will take practice. You will have to get over it. If you're so like frozen about it, just try and be as casual, be yourself like you would when you go out to like a networking event or go talk to people that you don't know. Keep it completely casual. And when you do videos and lives, right? This goes for anything, right? Never try to memorize what you're going to say. I will tell you right now, 99.9% of the time, you will mess up over and over again because you're so focused on trying to memorize those words so you don't look like a fool on camera that you get lost in it. So I always tell people, just know what you're going to talk about, like know the topics that you want to talk about, and just start from there. It will naturally come out more. It doesn't matter if you mess up, right? It doesn't matter that we're live and we mess up. It's fine. It's more natural. It's what people are used to seeing when you're in person with them. So don't feel like it has to be like pristine, like a news, like, a news show. It doesn't. It's better to just be yourself and be as natural as possible.
Completely agree with you. What something else I think that's super important are visuals.
Yes.
Because you're now going to a virtual world, longer posts. If you read things about what's happening in social media. Now, number one, Facebook puts out business learnings, I believe quarterly, that
Yes.
you can sign up for. And I can tell you firsthand experience, if there's something in that they are covering, it's super important that you start activating it. Like, because their algorithm, from my understanding, and this could be just hearsay, so I'm looking at Dave's face and saying, hopefully it's not.
You're on the right track. Don't worry. Keep going.
Algorithm starts to point to that. So the best example I can give is when they started to do Facebook Lives. If you took that courage and did that, however many years ago that was now, it doesn't feel like that, but it was years ago. I mean, your reach skyrocketed. So for me right now, what is doing that is stories. I have not been able to get back to the stories since kind of reworking on everything, but I can tell you that my ads on stories, both Facebook and Instagram, have 3 times as much reach as probably my regular ads. So it's something you want to invest your time in, is learning what these platforms are telling you they're pushing out, then directing your attention, and then fixing your visuals to fit all together, kind of, so you can sell something.
Yep. And I know you use it. I use it all the time. If you need a tool, right? Canva is going to be your best friend, because that will that will make your life so much easier, because like to Sonia's point that some things have like different dimensions, right? A story is different than like a post. It automatically resizes it for you. I mean, there's nothing else you can do. And I think it's free to just use and just export. I believe the paid version, you get some extra and maybe you could save more, but you don't really need it if you're just going to be making, content like that, and you just need it to be resized or anything like that, or at least make it custom. I mean, if you do, I mean, honestly, it's the best $12 I think I spend a month, like by far.
For real.
Yeah, it just makes life so much easier. I was never a graphic artist by any means, or designer by any means. And that, since I started using it probably 4 years ago, has just helped my own business, just because it makes my life easier. Because as you know, when you do a lot of social media, and I have like multiple clients that are all doing stuff at the same time, I need speed. I need stuff that's fast. And that program, once you get used to it, you can do stuff fast, because there are templates in there that you just see one, you're like, oh, I like that one. And then you just change it around to how you like. I mean, it's easy, right? They already look, the templates they make are really visually appealing. And then you just make it your own, and then you go with it. You're watching a live video, aren't you?
That one, and then you just change it around.
Don't mind what I'm doing over here to the left. I'm clearly clicking too many things, and our live went live, so there was like an echo for a second.
That's okay. But I see Tamara's here saying that she likes Canva too. Yeah, I mean, it's if you can do Photoshop and you can swing it, go for it. I have Photoshop. I pay for the whole Adobe suite. But if I need something quick, I mean, Canva is kind of my go-to. I pretty much use it every day, even just for work, or even just like personal. Like my wife wanted to make like a collage with me and my son and her, and I was like, okay, I can make it in Canva in like 2 seconds. So it just works. I think I made his first, what was his first birthday? Yeah, his first birthday, I made his invitation in Canva. I mean, come on, guys.
Multi-uses, look at that, write-offs everywhere.
Personal and business uses. I mean, come on.
So Drew says, do people know the difference between posting and adding to your story? Which I feel is a great question, because I can't tell you how many people have called me and asked me how to post on their story. And I'm just going to go to David on this.
Yeah. So, well, I'm looking, here we go. So posting and adding to your story. So like, you mean like, what's the difference between like a Facebook story and an Instagram, or just the posting itself? Because there's a couple different answers, and it depends on the platform that you're doing it, right?
So since we're on Facebook, and I feel like we have a lot of Facebook friendly people watching, we'll say Facebook currently.
Okay. So yeah, so there is a big difference. So I believe you can automatically, if you want to go the easy route, whatever you post on your business page, like whatever that content is, I'm almost positive you can just share it directly to your story. So you can do that.
You're doing great first step.
Yep. And it'll format it the best it can, right? So if the photo or the graph, let's say you're sharing a graphic of something or a photo, it's 4x3, it'll show up that way. But to Sonia's previous point about making stuff fit, I think it's worth it to make it sized for Facebook stories and Instagram stories. Like, that's just me. I think it's a better experience when someone has it. And when you use a program, like we said, like a Canva or something like that, it's an extra couple minutes just to make it that sized. So I always kind of lean toward to make it fit the medium that it's going to be in. So, but it's a separate step. So you can either do it kind of like automatically, and you should be able to do that through Facebook, your business page, or the Creator Studio, or you can just make 2 separate ones and post them on there. And just keep in mind though, that the story only lasts 24 hours, right? So there is an expiration date.
And what is the purpose of the story?
Well, the original purpose of the story was to, one, take out Snapchat. That was the original point of it. It was just to kill Snapchat. Yep. So Instagram, when Instagram added the stories, like I forget the number. It was crazy how many people, like there was a good while that, and it still may be that way, that more people were on stories than they were in the normal feed, like by a large margin.
Yeah, they were just watching it, brief 3-seconders.
So here's the thing. Here's the original idea behind stories. And I see we have another question about video editing, and I'll get there in a second. But the original idea, and I still think is definitely worth it if you're going to be continually making content, is you can have, your organized post that you're going to use for just the regular news feed or an Instagram feed. And then in your story, do what its main purpose is to tell the story. It's supposed to be a 24-hour kind of window. So a lot of people, I think when they do it as showing a behind the scenes of their work, what they're doing, all that kind of stuff, that is great because it's more personal. You get to see like every day or however many days you do it, what you have going on. And again, it's about making that connection and that people can understand who you are. And when you do that and people start to see who you are and kind of get to know you, you build up this trust, right? Think about anyone that you've seen that's like famous, right? You've probably seen them enough times. You've seen interviews, seen the movie, and you're like, that guy seems like a nice guy. I'm like, that guy could be the biggest a-hole ever. You don't know that, but it's just the way that he keeps showing himself and he makes himself available to you that you're like, yeah, I like this guy. So why not take that idea of, hey, I see this person all the time. They provide value. I get to see behind the scenes of everything. And it's all done from your phone, and you build up that audience trust that when you have an ask, like, hey, by the way, we're having a sale on something, they're going to purchase it because they kind of know you, like they're like your friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let me, should I jump into that question real quick before we get too far?
Tamara is with Olive Drab Farms. One thing out of this, I just want to hog in real quick. If you look in the comments and you click on people's names, all of those people are business owners. Everybody support each other in this conversation, like each other's pages, share them if you can. It's the same, love goes around. And David, back to you.
Thank you. So video editing apps. So yeah, so Tamara has some good ones, right? So like if you're a Windows user, Windows Movie Maker comes with Windows. And it's pretty easy. Like it's very easy to use. The best thing I will always tell everyone is if you feel like you don't know it, just Google it or go on YouTube. And I promise you, there are probably thousands of video on these programs and you will learn it within 15 minutes. Like it's very idea. The whole idea is with all these video things is all you have to know is that you're going to take portions of a video, either clips or 2 separate videos or 3 or 4. And all you're doing is just clipping them together. That's it. That's at the easiest thing you can do. Movie Maker can do it. If you have a Mac, you can use like iMovie. I see like people, there's a bunch of apps as well. Yeah. InShot, Filmora, Adobe has one that's free on mobile. That's pretty great too. Or you can try and get into like the big ones like Final Cut and Adobe Premiere. But for the most part, you're not going to use.
I think you should work your way up to that if you haven't.
Yeah, you know what though? If you're just trying to like take like, all right, I'm doing a video and I have like, I want to do me talking, and then I want to cut and show my product and me talking about the product. All those softwares, anything that you find in the App Store or Movie Maker or anything, will all do that. They will all serve that function, and a lot of them are free. So you don't really need to, you don't need to pay for the big ones. You don't need to pay for anything, I think, honestly. You could just use those, and it's really intuitive, and it'll kick out the exact file that you want to do. And a lot of them even give you the option of, hey, do you want this video widescreen or do you want it like square, right? So that, which usually works better for like Facebook and Instagram, or some of them even now do vertical video that you can use for stories. See?
Yes, cover photos, event cover photos, main page cover photos. People want to know where your creativity comes from. I definitely know that because like anytime we do these, people like tune in and it's a great time to see your creativity shine, I think, on the video, especially. It's really hard to give the visual just with a photo. I mean, some people do it fantastic. Yeah. Hence Instagram, and then the people who have thousands and thousands of followers, but you will get there. You have to just put in the time. That's something that David used to say to me all the time. You have to put in the time, collect your data, find out
put in the work.
That's
all you gotta do. You will get through it. And did you get through it? I think you got through it. Yeah.
It was so hard for a while though. So, I mean, something that was super important that also you brought with this was making sure this is all going back somewhere, that we have a database ourselves to drive people back to. Newsletters, websites, what else? Google business pages, completely making that SEO footprint all the way across the board.
Yep. Yeah, you have to be everywhere. And again, guys, all this stuff is free. Like it's free to use. You just need to know, even if you just stick with the big ones like Facebook, Instagram, and Google, like those, the holy trinity right there. That's pretty much all you need these days to get everything running. You have a Google My Business account, right? Which is great. I think that's underutilized a lot. One,
Yes.
it has all your information for your business. You can do post on there. So if people Google you, they can see
And
new information from you. That's one.
photos on that are seen, just so everybody knows, 562 people see my photos on Google Business every week.
Yep. See, it's such an underutilized thing and people just don't realize it because it's not, you know, it's not as well publicized as Facebook and Instagram. Everyone's like, you have to have 1 million followers on here. Like you just
And what
have to
comes
be
along with that? Google Analytics.
exactly know who's going to your website. Where are they coming from? What are they
Yes.
doing on your website? How long are they staying on your website? I think we're getting really complicated now, but yes,
No,
this is
it's really not. I did it myself. I added a widget to
Ooh,
my website. Yeah, I said a widget
wow. That's a
to
first.
my website and it tracked it, you know, and then, but what it did is I found out I have a completely different following on my website than I do on my social media pages.
Yeah, because you don't know who's organically like following you, right? Like, or just how you show up in Google. Like, it's great to know where everything's coming in, and on a grand scheme of things, it's always just great to know where your traffic's coming from. Because if you look at your analytics and you see there's a lot of people coming from Facebook versus maybe people just Googling you, then I probably keep putting out some good Facebook content because that's where people are driving traffic to your website, right? So that's all great information to know where your customer, and this just all goes back to like understanding your customer and knowing where they come from, right? Where, like, what do they like? What are they about? What drives them? And where do they like to come from? These are all just things that as you do this more, it's like super overwhelming. I know it's like a lot of stuff that we're throwing at you, but
I
the
have
more that,
bullet points so we can recap it real quick.
yeah, we can go over everything, but
I'm going to put it in the comments too, like the simple little stuff that you can do. Really, it's just taking the time to sit down and figure out where I'm at and where my time is going to be the most valuable with making this project work.
exactly. No, you're exactly right. That's it. You just have to go with just, and also just work to your strengths, right? And I think you were kind of touching on that before. Like if you're good at making graphics, go with graphics. Like you don't have to do like everything at first. If you don't feel like you're good at video, get up to it, work at it. Like I feel comfortable on video, so I'll do video all day. I just go overboard. I sent Sonia a text message of my setup right here. It's pretty amusing if you saw the actual space, like the actual, like this, where my arms are, that's the only space I have. But if you saw what's on this desk right now, it's pretty laughable. And this giant thing behind me, like it's really funny. I may just share it out. Actually, I think I'll share it out after we're done, just so you can see that it doesn't.
Comments.
I'll put it in the comments. I'll put it in there. I'll share it in there. I'll share it after. I'll put it in there. I'll get the whole thing. I'll get the whole experience. But the idea is like, that's where I feel most comfortable. I have a passion for it. So I always want it to come out really well because that's where I know, I do best on. So I'm going to put the time into that. Same idea. If you feel like you're great at writing, just do a lot of blog posts.
Oh my God.
Go ahead. Yep.
Blog. I'm so scared to blog because my grammar is horrible. Okay. And it's just
you don't have Grammarly?
Well, sometimes Grammarly can't even help everybody.
Oh, that's
bad. Yeah, no. So, and I just need to get better at it. I'm not going to make excuses. Mr. Tony Robbins said, you know what, that's an excuse. You handle that. So I'm going to handle the Grammarly and the grammar. But blogging makes you, that's what makes your footprint. You have to start, do things that make a footprint. And I'm actually just going to probably put an article in the comments about that because like Dave said, I don't want to go too complicated, but that was one of the first things that he pointed out to me when helping me in the very beginning is everything I did was just instant content, and YouTube videos for all of you makers is actual footprint. YouTube would be valuable for all of us.
Yep. Remember when you put a video on YouTube, it shows up in Google searches. Keep that in mind. organically. It
What is
shows
it?
up.
Is it still the #1 search engine?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I
I mean,
appreciate,
it's,
Lori, that I'm not alone on that you hate the idea of blogging.
I
So
just like toilet paper roll crafts that I see from Lori. Like, if you did that, there's a good chance you'll get jumped because people are desperate for it. Can I tell you a quick story about toilet paper? Not to get completely off topic, but I went to Target the other day, and I went there in the morning. I literally got up and I just went to Target because we're running low. And I see someone walking out of the store with this big thing of Bounty. I'm like, yes, this is it. I'm going to get my stuff. Paper towels were gone. Toilet paper was still there. The big packs, I didn't care. I bought it. There was only 4 left. I bought one. That was the first thing I put in my cart. I was in Target for another hour getting the rest of my regular groceries. I have never felt so paranoid in my life. Like, people were looking at me like I had $1 million in my cart at that point, like looking at me with the disdain of like, where did this guy get toilet paper? Like, where did he get it?
I was waiting for you to say somebody took it out of your cart when you were like in the freezer section or something.
I'm not going to lie. I did not leave my cart alone. It was always in arm's reach. Sorry, sidebar, because of toilet paper.
The struggle's real right now, and even talking about that briefly, like I've been on this emotional roller coaster. 2 Fridays ago, I had some businesses, and now I don't. And I'm working on keeping them around while I can make something else also. And then it's just an amazing experience to be able to just dive in with some passionate people, badass bubbles and things in the house. And no, I didn't just curse to curse. That's just her business name. But she's badass, so she deserves it.
So what else do we got? Was that, were you going to cover? Does anyone have any more questions on anything? Because
open forum. I know we have
forum. Yeah, let's
questions.
do it. You all are on there. Your stream is getting questions. Mine is not, but I see people watching. So don't feel bashful. We can ask anything out there because there's plenty that you could be doing right now aside from even what we talked about today. There's a lot that you can be doing, a lot to kind of figure out, even if you have the time. Like look into your website. Like maybe your website could use a refresh. Now is a great time to get that organized. Oh.
I have to go virtual, and she does. She's going virtual this week for a big client, and she don't know where to start.
So let's jump into it. So what do you like? Where do you do? Like, tell me what she does again.
She is Market 516. She was and is a mobile workshop. So she also got shut down with this because she can't be workshopping and doing DIY crafts currently for the public. So a lot of people have came to her and said, I would like you to make a video for me to teach DIYs at home. Simple stuff. Big clients too. But so she wants to, like you, and honestly, Lori and Dave, I'm sure we'll cover a couple of things, but y'all just may need to spend some time together because Dave made it simple for me to understand more than a lot of people. Yes, our meeting was an hour long because we're both talkers, but he gave me direct samples of what I could do to change my social media like that day. And then gave me a schedule like 2 days later. And maybe that's what you need. And then I'm gonna let Dave get back to how you go virtual is like, and that's all I needed was just that little nudge. And we've just been friends ever since. So maybe you need that nudge and he can provide that to you if, you still need additional help and you want to do this now. So,
yeah. No, and you're absolutely right. Cause like what I love is like little light bulb moments that if I talk to someone and I just mention something and they're less like, oh yeah, like that, I'm golden. Like that's all you really need for me to be happy. Like that's the value I can provide. That's great. So like for Lori's business, right? So it's like DIY. I mean, Facebook Live, right? Like that's instant. What we were just talking about doing this, right? Like, can't you just show how to do a certain craft or something or DIY and just do it live, or just do again? You could do it pre-recorded, but that feels like a video needs to be done, right?
mm-hmm. It's
like
a video that needs to be done first, and I think she should do a couple test runs of herself doing DIYs. Now she's done it in shortened seconds on the daytime show before. But, actually walking everyone through, how long do you think a video like that should be?
Well, I mean, It's a hard question.
You're
It
involved
does. Yeah, it doesn't need to be like 30 minutes long, but it also doesn't need to be 2 minutes, right? Like if you know that your audience is like interested in it, you want to give yourself some time. I mean, if you go on YouTube on any given moment and you look at people with a lot of followings, a lot of their videos are like over 10 minutes long, right? Because people are willing to watch it because there's going to be some value. So if you're providing value, I mean, let's be honest. I have 12 on here. I don't know how many are watching here. You guys have been watching for 50 minutes, right? So this would be like against anything that anyone would tell you, like, oh, you got to keep everything short. So if it's something that's good and you know is going to provide value, it can just be as long as it needs to be, right? And you can always test that because you can see again in the data how many people liked it, how many people watched it, right? And you can kind of gauge it from there and see if people were engaging, were they commenting, were they liking it? Like that's all stuff that you can kind of use as a barometer to know how long a video needs to be, what kind of video you need to do. I mean, honestly, you can just start with asking your followers, like, what do you want to see? What kind of stuff do you want to see? Take a poll, like field those questions from them so you can know exactly what kind of content you want to put out.
And can't she go live on their page? Like, can't we do co-lives?
Yeah. So you can like cross port. So what we did is like, so this video is going live on Simply Events and then on my page for DCA Media Consulting. So we're doing it on both, but I think I had to be on your page in order to do that. So I have to have some sort of role on your page. So if you do have a relationship with these pages and they can just add you in as a low level, like you don't have to be an admin on their page. Yeah, you just have to be the low level form of it that you can at least access it. You can easily, when you set up the live. So what we did today, just to get a little granular, right? So aside from, forget the Zoom thing, right? Forget even that extra layer. What we did is we just set up a live video ahead of time. We scheduled it, right? Because we wanted to make it like people were getting excited for it. So Sonia was posting about how we're going to go live. And then 2 hours before we put the live posting up there so that if people see it, they can say interested. And if they do, then when we go live, they get a notification. So that's one, right? We're treating it almost like a TV show. And then two is we cross-ported them so that way it's live on my page and it's live on her page at the same time. So if you can get access to their page, you can run it on your own page and that other person's page at the same time. And it's great because now you're leveraging two different audiences instead of just the one. Or if for some reason you can't get that access, you could always just go live or set it up that you can go live with them or on your own page, and then they can just share that live stream once it starts on their page. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. That's like the easiest. Like if it seems like cross-porting, we're crossing wires, I don't know what to do, that's okay. The easiest thing you can do is just, hey, I'm going to go live. Can you share this on your page?
Yeah. So Lori, that's the easiest way you can make that thing happen. And then he gave you a couple options along with that. Tamara had made a really good suggestion, I think, of Bidget, which is a app that can look up large competitors. Is that correct in the area? Mm-hmm. Where'd that comment go? And then Lori hashtagged it. What's Bidget? Let's see. Well, that hashtag didn't really lead me anywhere, Miss Lori. Bidget Car Hire Services, so I'm not sure. But in the comments there, Tamara did make a suggestion on how to look up large competitors if you were wondering who those are in your area. I just wanted to point that out. And then also, if there's any other apps that you guys that are tuning in are using that you think are helpful, let's drop those in the comments. I mean, if anything, the 12 to 20 something people that tuned in can be educated on what we're currently using to make our lives a little bit easier through this process.
Definitely. And I see we have a question here from Donna. Let's see. We have a Facebook page, but it's so hard to get likes. We post and do lives, but not getting much of a following. What can we do to get more people? So honestly, the easy answer, not the best answer that people like to hear, is you got to keep at it. It just depends on how long you've been doing it. And two is...
I did it again. I'm sorry. It's so addicting. Sorry.
Oh, that's so great.
Back to
That's
you.
really no, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so it's keep working at it and making sure that your content is stuff that you like and getting new likes. That's where you have to get a little creative, right? So we go back to the idea of you can pay for them,
Was
right? Because
that Lori
Facebook
Garner
is
who asked that?
no, it was Donna. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can pay, right? Because Facebook is, let's be honest, it's very much pay to play, right? If you want to reach a lot of people, you do need to spend a lot of money and you can get more likes and more followers that way. If you're putting out the right kind of content and people enjoy it, that is number one. Number two is utilize groups, right? Facebook groups are
Yes.
everywhere. Sonia could probably speak to Facebook groups more than I can because she was doing some trickery that I was like, I don't even know what you're doing.
Girl, I was linking stuff. I was attaching stuff. Facebook is changing every day. And so, so your crazy marketing promotions brain knows what Donna does is she sells chalk paint for Dixie Belle Paint Company.
Okay.
And so our chic decor markets are a main thing for her because those people are interested in doing DIYs at home. And it's interesting because Lori from Market 516, she actually uses their paint doing their crafts. So it shows you how y'all,
I see a cross promotion. I see a cross promotion right there. I mean, like that right there is you two could literally get together and create a video or do a live and do it on both your pages, or at least at minimum creative and do it both. Right. So here's a craft using this. I mean, it writes itself. Like, I think that would be the easiest thing. And it's great because now you're bringing in another business and everyone kind of can leverage each other's audience. That is absolutely should happen.
cross
Like
promotion,
right
super,
now.
super, super important.
Yeah, that right there would be so helpful. And like it's the idea of what we were just talking about with the groups. It's getting in touch with people that are very similar to your audience or to in your field or whatever your business is. There's a group for everything. I promise you. There's the weirdest crap out there with a group. If you can get in those groups and actually have genuine conversations with people, because a lot of them don't want you to just go in there and start promoting your business straight up. But if you start creating relationships with people in there, business will naturally come. People will share out your stuff. So again, it's all about building that trust, building that following, and creating these kind of communications. But I mean, I think right now there's a definite business deal that should happen in the comment section, like right now, because that's a no-brainer.
For sure. Everybody tag yourselves in the comments. Everybody go support one another, your businesses. Donna, just a quick idea for you. I think it would be time for you to change it up a little bit then if you're not getting anything out of what you're doing. First, identify your strengths. What was my most engaged post in the last few months? Identify that so you know that needs to stay. And then we need to add something new to it. It's constantly a trial and error basis on social media. I can't tell you how many times my marketing coordinator laughed at me for my crazy ideas. When we were doing the beer and burger launch video and we got the Queen tribute on board, so I like to see who my largest competitor was who did Queen well. So for me, that was the movie. So I pulled up a sample of the movie trailer and I said, I want it to look like this. And she laughed. She laughed. But that's what I wanted, so I could visualize what I wanted it to look like. And then I saw a sample and that's where I honed in. So something good that you do, launch something new. Okay. And keep a close eye on it to see what demographic. If it's a new demographic, and even if it was just like 5 people, #winning.
Yeah. Listen, we're not going for like thousands of people. You can go for 100 people or 20 people or 10 people. Listen, I mean, if you were think about it even now, like, I don't know how many people are watching this, maybe like over 30 between the 2 pages or something like that, maybe a little bit over. I think if we were talking in front of 30 people in like live in person, I'd be pretty pumped. I don't know about you, right? I think that'd be great. So, and this is like, we're doing it from home and we can reach a ton of people. Like, I'm happy with those numbers, right? Don't get too sucked into like, you know, my followers are low or anything like that. Everybody's page is going to be lower than it really is. And even if you have, like, I have clients that have 14,000 followers and their organic posts only reach on average, depending on what kind of post it is, right? Because some are not great, some are better than others. On average, they reach 500, maybe 1,000 if it's a good post. If it really takes off, maybe 2,000, 3,000. That's still a small percentage of how many followers you have. So don't put too much weight on the followers. Don't feel like you're doing something wrong or something bad. It's just the way that Facebook is. They're going to give more preference to their friends to see on their newsfeed because they don't want it to just be bombarded with people's business stuff. But if you do that kind of heavy lifting of like going into groups, getting in front of the people that you need to, community pages, groups, anything like that, that you know you're reaching that right audience, that's going to help you immensely.
So here's a last question and a good one. And this is from Lori with Badass Baubles and things. And Lori has a very clear brand. You know, her jewelry, her baubles have curse words on them, and they also have inspiring sayings on them. They're super cute, unique. She knows how to take a great Instagram photo.
Yeah.
So what it is great for the long term, everything we've talked about, but for today, what is something in this weird time, how you can start pivoting your business?
Well, I mean, if you tell me right now that you sell stuff online, like those things, and I think I'm familiar because I think I saw it at one of the markets that I was at.
Yes, I brought you up to her to have the recording. I was like, I like her. You can, yes, and
yes, yep. So, I mean, honestly, right now, if you sell something and you have an online store, this is your time to shine because people cannot leave the house, but they still want to purchase stuff. They still need stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean. I saw your stuff. Your stuff is really good. And it's like made for the internet, right? It's like perfect for the internet. People love that stuff. So if you already have a great following, you have a great Instagram, it's time to spend some money on these platforms and get it out to the right people so that you can start seeing returns on all this work. People will buy it because if they start to get to know you and you're on the video, even if it's you on a video in an ad explaining what you have, you know, whatever that item is, you can do that, put some money behind it, and you'll start making some sales, getting people over there. I mean, there's a lot of things you can target. I mean, you can target people that have, you know, a birthday coming up, right? Like, yeah, there's people that have a birthday coming up or looking into birthday gifts. I think your items would be a great birthday gift, right? So wouldn't it be great if you paid a couple bucks to get in front of people that are searching for birthday gifts and you have the perfect gift for them, right? So I think for Lori, it's time to get into the advertising game. Would you agree?
Yes, and I know she spends money on Etsy because we had talked about it recently, and I'm sure she does do some promotions here and there, and probably when she's going to a market, even Target area. So she does a lot of things right. I know she's one of the ones who's going to be on the Support Local St. Pete because she knows how to take a great photo, and her Instagram is just grow, 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 grow. So
yeah, I think that's just the next step. That's the next logical step. If you have everything already kind of set up, right, that you have great following, you have all that stuff. It's just now you got to throw some fire on it and you know, get it out there to the right people and to as many of them as possible so that way you can start selling and make sure that you have everything set. So don't put I'm gonna feel like an old man. Don't put the carriage in front of the horse, whatever that old term is. I don't know.
You really screwed that up.
I know.
Before the cart.
Whatever. No. Listen.
Oh, wow. We're just a mess. Okay.
We're a mess. Okay. But anyway, we've been on for a while. It's okay. But the idea is, thank you for the assist. But the idea is if you're going to go and make these steps, you need to be totally sure that everything is set up, meaning that if you have an online store, make sure it's it looks great, right? It's all set up. If you don't have an online store, now's the time to make sure that you have the online store. So do all the necessary steps on the back end to make sure everything is set up properly and then go for it, because you don't want to like start spending, but then maybe you don't have a shop or the shop's not great. It doesn't look great or it doesn't function that well. So make sure you have all that set up and then go for it. So I think that would be the biggest thing. And then of course, aside from spending, think about what you can do with your followers, right? Think about what you can do. Maybe it's a weekly video or weekly live video showing some of your new stuff, right? anything you can do, even if like 2 people watch it, right? If one person bought something from you that day for the 15 minutes you're on, I think that's a win at this point, right? So as you keep doing more of those, you'll see more people will join in and you can start doing that, right? So you have your paid side going, and then you have your organic working that database that you already have, and making sure that you keep up to date with like, here's my new stuff, here's everything, sprinkle in some fun content, stuff that's not trying to sell them too much, and just rinse and repeat. Keep that cycle going as long as possible until you have to pivot again. But I think right now, with everything being online, that's where it needs to go.
I think Lori needs to get on her business pages and show her face more and like tell your story. I know you did that in the past, but maybe let's rehash that content so your new followers even know like where you came from, why you started Badass, and where it is today and where you hope it to go, is something that I think would be worth trying to.
Yeah. And I see like, so she said that, you know, I need to figure out ads because they didn't really bring in that much money. So I think that may be an issue of like what we talked about earlier is like, well, you gotta like really look at what you can do. Cause if you were just like doing the boosted post and it really wasn't going to the right person, that could be part of the issue as well. So there's multiple things when you start doing this that you kind of have to work it, or as our buddy Gary Vee says, reverse engineer it. Right. So what you have to do is like, let's say you have an ad running.
If you guys need, oh, shut up, Sonia. Okay, fine.
No, you're good. I was trying to hear you because you went out for a second.
Telling me to be quiet because she says she hates videos, but I thought it's because I was talking over you because you got the knowledge.
No problem. No worries. So yeah, so basically what we want to do is once you start doing this stuff, right? If you come up with a good ad, but you still don't see maybe the sales that you want, and you know that you're reaching that you finally got that customer down, then you got to look at the ad itself. Then you got to figure out, wait, is this the right product that I'm sending to this customer? So you kind of have to work everything backwards until you find the fix. And a lot of that is just going to be testing, right? So the other thing is too, when you start spending money, you need to test. Like if you're going to spend $50, like have in your mind that $50 is gone. Like it's gone. We're treating Vegas rules. I'm walking in with 50. I'm leaving with nothing. Like, and I get nothing back from it. Like you have to have that mindset, because I promise you what you learn and the data and testing whatever you can will be more valuable in the long run. That 50 will maybe turn into 500.
And I would like to tell everybody asked me this question, and I'm going to tell it to y'all because I love you. I get this question a lot. How much do you spend on promoting your events, Sonia? How much do you spend on social media? Well, as little as I freaking can. Yeah. And I get it down to that absurd 20 cents a click or lower. Like if I'm more than 30 cents a click, to me, that's not being effective. Now, that's not for everybody, but I've really been able to tune it down to getting that click to get cheaper, because I focus on that out of everything. And again, now I found this is what Dave taught me. I have this in general audience. And now I need to take a look at those insights to show me what that in general audience directs to. And those are my specific people. And I'm now taking this product that advertises the best with those people, and I'm honing in on that market, and I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to roll the dice, like you said, on that. And then I'm going to keep those both active at the same time. And now I just learned what visual content serves better.
Yep. When you get into like the more complicated advertising, which is like I live every day, is like even for clients that I've been doing this for years, like when we start a new campaign, I test at minimum 3 photos, 3 different types of copy, 3 videos, 3 audiences, right? Or more. And I test all of those for like about a week. And then from those pieces, I can determine what are the right combination. And then that's the ad that we put the rest of the money for. Like, it just takes testing. No one is like a magician is going to know right off the bat. I know this person, and this picture and this copy and this photo are all going to work together fine. You may get lucky and it works, but most of the time you won't, right? So even to this day, I still test with an audience that I know, I would like to think I know pretty inside and out at this point for doing it this long. But then again, what worked yesterday may not work today. So you always have to be ready to adapt.
She said, and I guess we're just going, we said it'd be an hour, but whatever, that's fine. She said, to be honest, I have one necklace that is 85% of my online sales, trying to figure out what that means for my online business.
Well, I think people like that necklace, one, and that would be the one that I advertise, two. And then three, yeah, kind of look at your other products.
Story then? Is that now
Yeah.
the story to lead into the shop?
Yeah, I mean, just look at like I bet. I mean, I'm sure Sonia can speak to this more because she understands, especially like people that come to buy stuff more than I do. But I mean, to me, if I knew I had one product that sells the most, right, that's one I'm definitely going to lead with. But then I'm going to maybe assess my other ones and see where I can trim some fat and start thinking of other stuff that's maybe similar to that one or then that same category, right?
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
I just know that because I watch way too much Profit, which is a great show. If you don't watch that, I suggest you watch it.
Yeah. That one's really good. And also Shark Tank gets me pumping just to see
Shark
how
Tank is
creative people
great.
are sometimes. There's people coming up with all sorts of stuff nowadays. So
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? I mean, honestly, like knowing that stuff or watching those shows is great because they just, I mean, a lot of the stuff they're teaching you is just like simple business that, you and I didn't go to business school, but they know and they have a lot of money for a reason. And that's why they go and they help these people. And a lot of people are the ones that don't work out. I mean, granted, I know it's a reality show, but the ones that don't work out are the ones that are not willing to change and to adapt. So always keep that in mind. It's not something unusual. A lot of people don't want to change and usually it doesn't work out for them because you have to change eventually.
I feel like that's your new phrase there, Lori, for your sentence. She said it's hard to advertise because it's the F bomb.
That could pose a little bit, but hey, you can find a way around that. I think
Advertise that? It's hard to advertise. It's the F bomb.
you can get around that. There's some creative ways you can. I think you know what? I think you could have a lot of fun making an ad around that, talking about how I really want to show you this. It's our number one product, but I can't show you on here. I'm gonna click over to your website. I want to see what it is. You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Oh my goodness. Dat's marketing guy, woman, I'm not even sure who it is, honestly. So anytime they get a bad review, he always likes to challenge it and put it on their board and is like, Kelly said that our sandwiches suck. Come in to see.
Yeah. See how bad they are. You know what I mean?
With that.
Yeah. Have fun with it. Be creative. There's nothing like you don't want it to necessarily blend in with all the other posts and the other ads that are out there. So you could definitely have some fun with that one.
What does an Instagram want you to see?
Yeah.
Call them out, Lori.
I think that's great, actually. Yeah. Instagram does not want you to see this necklace. Like, boom. There you go. Click over.
Oh, and Tamara's coming with some suggestions too. I love you guys, how everybody's like just making suggestions for everybody. That's great. So I think we're gonna shut it down. It's 8:15. I know people got kids and stuff, and we've been on.
Yeah, I hear you can't hear it, but I hear my son upstairs and something fierce is happening right now. I don't know what, but I hear it.
Well, my cat has been scratching on the glass door for about the last half hour, so she's going to be pissed off when she gets in here. I'm going to just have to, I'll post a photo.
There you go. Yeah, and I'll post my photo of my setup. And it's funny because you started off all nice and bright. It looks like I was in the void. I'm still in the void, but well lit, and now it's dark over there.
Glow face. So Lori said, when we'll be doing this again? Well, this is going to be happening a lot more often. I have a feeling because this was fantastic and I had a really good time doing it. And like anything for personal interaction these days, I'm like, give it to me.
No, and again, like you actually just, I know you're joking, but you're also touched on something super important. This right now is really important for everyone because this is the world that we live in right now. This is how everyone can communicate. So if now's the time to do it, now's the time to do it. Like I was talking to Sonia earlier, like I was like, I now have some time and I have X, Y, and Z that I want to do that is all internet based. It's all this. And like now, if any time is the best time to do it. It may be counterintuitive because it's like there's literally a pandemic outside, but this is the time to do it, because now everyone's on their phone and on their computer pretty much all day, because that's the only way we can communicate. So if you're going to try something and it's all online, now's the time. This is the time to do it. Try it out. And I promise you, by the time we're out of this, you will be good.
Lori wants the digits. She said,
Just like that. Yes, I will
tell Alan, Lori. I won't tell Alan.
You could tell whoever. You can tell whoever. If you want, you can go to here. Oh, wait, I can write in here. Oh, duh, I'm on your page, but I can just do that. So I'm gonna self-publish myself, and I'm gonna promote myself shamelessly.
Yes.
You can go there. You can contact me on there. There's a contact form. It'll go to my email. Send me your stuff. And I'll recognize your name, because we've been together now for an hour. So send me whatever questions you have, and we'll go from there.
And I'm going to hopelessly plug myself on Dave's page. If anybody needs a grand opening, if anybody needs any kind of party putting together organization, I can definitely help you out with that. And we are launching Simply Support Local. The Facebook page is already up. The groups are up. Lori Gardner, Fabulous Funky Monkey, I still need to give you a call. A lot of you in the comments I've already spoken to about it. Like, we're going to be going really quickly, and David is going to be in on this project. He's going to be doing a lot of the tech backside of it, and he's also going to be doing the somewhat like local business boost, where he comes in and he highlights you and gives you a really big push, and also, you know, does a little video of the business. And his videos are fantastic. If you check out our videos on the Simply Events page, everything at late nights, that was all David that did that, those 30-second videos. To give you another plug, because he's not just a social media brain and a cute face, he can also make some videos and take some great photos for you. And because of that, you know, our Not Your Mama's Christmas Party at Westfield Late Nights won Best Holiday Event at Westfield. I don't even know.
It was awesome. It was so
amazing, and the video looked amazing. So
it was so good. And I mean, that one was really good, but I personally love the pirate one, because you had a freaking pirate ship there. I mean, it was nuts. Like, it was crazy. It was so good.
If anybody rents a pirate ship, hashtag shipwrecked in the comments, and I can do that for you. I have a pirate ship.
just in case anyone needs one, you know, this would be the proper time to use a pirate ship.
You need a mermaid. I got one of those too. You know, if anybody needs to connect to photographers during this time, other party services. If you need to connect to your kid, Lori, you're probably going to have to do some trading DIY for David's son here, so to keep him busy.
Oh yeah, we're in. You know, actually, it really quick, because I know we're trying to end, but you know, somebody did that locally here. He has one of those like paint shops that you can go and you know, you like drink wine and you paint.
Oh yes.
So he had to pivot super fast, and he's a great business owner, great entrepreneur. And so what he started to do was create, he sold prepackaged painting, like the board, the paint and everything. Customers came, they dropped it off. He literally went outside, put it in their car, contactless, right? Dropped it off. And then he did a virtual training of the painting class for the kids. Yeah. I mean, and like within a week, right? So keep that in mind. There's something you can do for your business. Yeah, exactly. There's something that you could always do, and you just got to think a little bit outside the box. So, you know, just keep that in mind. And it's kind of in the similar space. So
amazing.
Yep.
Well, right. I had fun with you guys. Thank you so much. And we're going to sign out and drop everything in the comments that we talked about, as much as we can anyways.
As much as we can. And yeah, we'll let you know when we do this again, right?
Yes, for sure. I'm sure we'll maybe be doing something next week. I'm not really sure what, but we will be doing something next week, you know, just to keep us all connected at bare minimum.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thanks guys. Thanks for watching. Yeah, write your comments. You have any questions or anything that you want us to maybe cover next time, right? If you think of something, just write it in there, or message Simply Events page. And we'll keep those on tap for next time.
That sounds really good idea.
All right. Thanks, guys. I am going to end this. I will see you all later.
Wait.
Yes. What are you doing? All right. Get it out of your system. Go ahead. Get it out of your system. Go.
They say I'm a rapper, and I say no. Say what you doing, trying to somebody cold. I just let the music come from my soul, so all of my people can stay on the floor. They got a brand new shit, they got a move in my soul. Brand new dance, it's coming to the show.
All right, that's all I got.
That was fantastic. I don't really dance, but you cover that well. So this is why we work. You do the dancing. I sit here awkwardly and just laugh.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.